Welcome back to another episode of The Only Teams That Matter. I'm Coley Mick here with Clue 24. Uh, I'm not going to ask you how you're doing. I know how you're doing. Your team stinks. My team's only slightly better. And man, oh man, was it a tough week to be a fan of the Boston Red Sox. Not because of anything that happened on the field. I think it was perfectly mediocre week for everything that happened on the field, all things considered.
Pretty much.
But the I thought I was done being like angry about the Mookie Betts trade. I thought I was a part of my life that was in the past. I'm getting angrier because people, my own fan base, people like I grew up with, people who vote in same elections as me, people I go to the store and shop behind and next to, ask, excuse me, can I get by? These are the same people who just line up, read John Henry's newspaper, and go, "This is the truth." And it's like I've failed the entire fucking fan base. I have not been quiet about the Mookie Betts trade since 2018. This conversation started because I couldn't believe it was a conversation then. Now, before I get like real into it, let me ask you something as a Yankee fan. Did Aaron Judge test free agency?
Yes.
Okay. And so he plays for what, like the Royals now? Where did he go?
I think he still plays for the Yankees.
Oh, okay. Because everyone I've talked to is act like that's not even a fucking option. When your star MVP caliber player hits free agency, that means they're gone. They're bolting. They want nothing to do with that town. It's impossible if you hit free agency to sign with the team in which you just played for. That's how it's been told to me. That apparently that was wrong, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
In order to truly understand this conversation, you have to go back to 2011 in my eyes. I think that's where it starts. Because I think you'll remember this game, even as someone who was not watching as many Red Sox games as I was at the time. Do you remember when David Ortiz stormed into Terry Francona's press conference ready to kill someone because they took an RBI away from him?
Yes.
Do you know why that happened?
No.
That happened not like the Red Sox won that game. It was 4-3 against the Guardians. Truly didn't matter. Like, truly not a game that mattered. That mattered in the context of David Ortiz because for the entirety of his career, he played on perpetual one-year deals because John Henry and ownership kept saying, this isn't going to last. He's going to prove it. He's going to prove it again. He's going to prove it one more time. Every year. So every single RBI mattered to David Ortiz because he knew it was going to come up. He knew it was going to come up every goddamn winter because of this front office. Later in 2011, I think most people will fucking remember, Terry Francona gets fired. And he gets fired. And not only does he get fired, thanks for the memories. Listen, there was a collapse here. We got to fire you. It happens to everybody. Thank you for the 2 World Series rings. Thank you for being comfortably the best manager in Boston Red Sox history. No, they called him a pillhead and said this guy's too messed up on the sauce to manage a baseball team. That's what they did. They didn't just say, hey, you know what? We had one of the biggest choke jobs in baseball history. It's probably time to look in a different direction. No. And I believe that was 2012, actually. It was either way. Mm-hmm. It was 12. But it's all 1 year in my mind. It was that bad. The 11 collapse happens. It's like, sick, thanks. 2012 happens. Francona gets fired. They call him a pillhead. He almost doesn't come to the 100th year reunion because of it. Again, best manager. So this is what this front office does. They slander people on the way out. They planted the Mookie seeds long before they traded him. I'm not going to talk about anything Mookie Betts said outside of these 2 things. One, he definitely did say he wanted to test free agency. I don't know when we became fucking cowards and pretended like that meant we still couldn't sign him. 2, there was a quote floating around from 2020 that went re-viral among Red Sox fans this week as some sort of gotcha to Mookie Betts. This quote also comes from the Boston Globe, owned by John Henry. This quote is that he didn't regret turning down the offer the Red Sox made. Now, the paragraph before that, nothing that he said, says that he was offered $300 million. Mookie Betts at no point has said he was offered $300 million. He reiterated that fact again Thursday night, Friday morning, whatever the first time he was interviewed prior to the series, his first return to Fenway Park. I think it was Chris Cotillo said, hey, did you actually turn down $300 million? Are you lying? Or did you change your mind? What happened? And he said, you can talk to the front office about that. Being like, I was not offered $300 million, which, by the way, everyone acting like $300 million is some fucking gotcha moment. He didn't sign for $300 million. He didn't sign for less than $300 million.
That's what I was thinking when you were
He
saying
signed for $365 million,
so, yeah.
Which was also below market value if we really want to get into that.
Yeah, it was.
There's a bunch of people who have also acted like, well, he only signed with the Dodgers after he was traded there because of COVID. As if Boston also didn't get COVID. Like, it was the same thing. The same fucking thing here. I promise. It was the same. If you don't trade him and then you go back to the table, because he could have changed his mind where he was like, yeah, you know, I still want to test free agency. Oh, wait, there's a global pandemic that may shut down the world as we know it. I will sign a contract for a little bit less than I was going to hope for.
Right.
The way the Red Sox, again, I'm done talking about what Mookie said. This is all what the Red Sox have admitted openly, and people have been like, this is good. The Red Sox side of the story is that they offered him $300 million, and that Mookie countered with $400 million, and then they traded him. And that's not negotiating. That's not negotiating at all. They came in low. He said, why don't you bring that up a little, big dog? They ended to go. Again, this is their side of the story that people have gone, yeah, Mookie's the bad guy here. It's fucking insane. It's genuinely insane. Also, when they traded Mookie Betts, they said that was the case because they could only keep two. I don't know if people remember, Xander Bogaerts left last winter. They didn't even fucking do that. Why do people still believe these people? What are we talking about? Would Mookie Betts have taken, if when the Red Sox reportedly, per them, offered $300 million and Mookie counted with $400, if they said, hey, how about $350, would he have signed it? I don't know. Maybe. They didn't even fucking offer that, again, according to them. So how could I know? I know he signed for $365. I know he's playing for a crazy low AAV, like
yes, he is.
Comically low.
You signed for $365 for 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what, like 30? Yeah, it's 30. Yeah,
it's like 30, like that.
Yeah,
we can't. If we added his 30 right now, we would barely be a top 10 team in payroll, like barely. We're 12th right now. We also decided to staple David Price's contract to the trade to make sure the return was even worse. Now, Verdugo's was great this weekend. Great. He's been up and down pretty much since he got here. Wong hasn't looked like a major league player until this year, and now he looks like a fine catcher. You can get a fine catcher fucking anywhere. Like, that's not what you trade Mookie Betts for. The Mookie Betts trade is, and will always be worse than selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees. Because at least when they sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees, it hadn't happened before. There was nothing they could point to and go, hey, that's a bad idea. We shouldn't fucking do that, which is exactly what they did when they sold Mookie Betts. It's insane. Like, if other organizations have traded star players for pennies before, it happens. It's never happened at this level twice to the same a marquee franchise. We're not the Royals. If you're worried about what I hear when you say we can't let a guy hit free agency is we will not be the highest bidder, no matter what. We know we're not going to be the highest bidder. So let's take ourselves out of it and trade him. That's what the Royals do. That's what the Athletics do when they trade Matt Olson and Sean Murphy and everyone else they developed to the Braves. That's not what the Red Sox should be doing. I understand the thought, yeah, we need to have a better farm system. In 04, in 07, and 13, and 18. The 18 team was 5 years ago. There are more members of that team on the fucking Dodgers than there are on the Red Sox right now. I know that team's still good because they're in first place in the NL goddamn West. what are we doing? I don't hold Heim responsible for any of this, by the way. Not one iota of it do I think is his fault. He was hired, told, you have to trade Mookie Betts. We're going to introduce you to this fan base by trading the best player in baseball. Go ahead. Good luck. It's insane.
And people love to lick boots, and nothing makes that more apparent than stuff like this, because it's like, all right, we established that the AAV is perfectly reasonable. Like, reasonable is probably putting it lightly, right? $30 million a year for Mookie fucking Betts seems to be a pretty good deal, right?
So you 30.4.
Right. You trade him, and the thing, you can't even make the argument that it's about baseball. Like, there's no baseball argument for trading him. And I'm not even talking about how good Mookie is. I'm talking about you use Mookie to dump salary. You can't make this about baseball. Like, there's nothing about this as baseball. Like, you didn't want to trade. You traded Mookie because you didn't want to pay him. And you traded Mookie with David Price because you didn't want to pay Price either. You didn't want to pay the remaining of his year, whatever. Like, you can't make this about baseball. So all the arguments, and I've seen them, like, I don't follow a lot of Red Sox fans, but I've seen Red Sox fans like, oh, they had to trade Mookie Betts. What, they had a gun to ownership's head that said you had to trade him? Like, what was there a rule? Was there a rule in the byline that said you had to trade Mookie Betts that I wasn't aware of? Because I would have spent a lot less time panicking every time he came to the plate if I had known that he was going to get traded any fucking way. I had no idea. I had no idea that this was a rule like you had to. No, you didn't. And listen, if they traded him singularly, like without Price attached, and they got like a Soto level return, fine. Like, that doesn't make it that does make it slightly better. It makes it slightly more reasonable. Slightly. But it's like, you're the Boston Red Sox. You are a big market team. Operate it like it. And big market teams typically don't let talents like Mookie Betts go, especially when guys like to have championships with said team. They typically just don't let those guys go. That's not how it works.
He's the best homegrown player in the history of the Red Sox, and I know the history of the Red Sox. People will say this guy, that. No, like, it's truly nobody else. He won an MVP for you in the 21st century. He won a batting
and had one of the best seasons ever. Like,
yeah, like that
with the MVP season. Like, one of the
there
best
are certain people who will point out, like, oh, look at his October numbers, and it's like, if you don't get the fuck out of my face. Like, yeah, you'd rather have Benintendi here, and I have no problems with Benintendi. I think he's a perfectly adequate baseball player.
Oh, that makes one of us.
Like, I know.
Well, I have problems with Benintendi.
Much worse for the Yankees than he was for us. I mean, he has the best defensive play in Red Sox playoff history. Like, we've got plenty of good offensive ones. He's got the best defensive ones.
I ain't going to derail this talking about the highest paid player in White Sox history, though, so carry on.
I have no problems with Andrew Benintendi. But my point is, if people want to talk about tremendously small sample sizes, I'm sure like Jackie Bradley Jr. had the best offensive burst in that ALCS. Is he a better player than Mookie Betts?
I mean, Gleyber Torres got really good postseason numbers. If they want Gleyber for Mookie, I'll take it. He ain't gonna get no argument from me.
I guess that's the only, like, if this were 2004, like, the Yankees would have just offered him the most money, and that's where he'd be. So that's like the only solace I have in any of this, is that he's on the West Coast. I can ignore it as much as I can until he comes to Fenway Park and people start acting fucking stupid again. Like, people I know are smart too. That's the part that bothers me. Everyone's like, oh, I've got this great gotcha moment on you. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's insane. From the moment he left, he was like, I never wanted to leave. I just wanted to be paid. Like, and I don't blame it. Like, the idea that he's like this greedy player, I saw that thrown around a lot. The owners are making billions to the point where they can buy other franchises. They own Liverpool. They own the goddamn Penguins. They bought the Penguins after they won multiple more Stanley Cups. At the peak of their value is when they bought the Penguins. They did that at the behest of re-signing Mookie Betts. They also, and this is, I blame Dombrowski a lot for a lot of this, because Dombrowski is the one who cheaped out on Xander's deal, which gave him the opt-out because of Boris' client. And he also didn't sign Devers early enough. And it's like, yeah, of course you can't keep all these guys if you let them go to the year before free agency, or worst case, free agency, which is what you did with Xander. Xander should have been signed years ago. Devers should have been signed years ago. They'd be cheaper. And I don't even care. I'm glad they're paid.
The Braves the only team in Major League Baseball that understands this? Why? Like, everybody else, like, they want to wait until, either a year or two before they hit the market. It's like, if you just sign them 2 years before that, it's going to be so much cheaper for you. And I thought the goal was to save money. Like, what are we doing here? I thought that was the goal. Spend as little as possible.
I don't even care if the team does sign money. Like the one thing I do give Dombrowski credit for is he was like, it's not my money. Like I genuinely don't care. Like, and fine. Like that was what was so jarring to me as a fan. The hard pivot away from, hey, this has been working. Like this is no one's won more World Series than us this millennium. Why pivot so hard? I'm not saying don't pivot at all. If you become stagnant, yeah, of course you're going to die and other people will pass you. Don't become stagnant, but don't do a complete reversal of what you've been doing. It's truly insane behavior. And I think given what Heim's been able to work with, I think he's been a tremendous job. I think Cora's done a really good job with the limitations that have been put forth on the ownership. Then I have people who tell me, oh, you have to fucking suck ownership's dick because they won those 4 World Series. No, I don't. What are you talking about? That's not how this works. I'm a fan. I'm not an employee. I'd be thankful for the 4 World Series that were won.
A lot of fans act like they're employees. Like not even just Red Sox fans in general. It's just like why do you care so much about that billionaire's pocket? You're not seeing none of it. So why do you care so much about the ownership? How could you pay Mookie $30 million? Easy. The Dodgers did it, bro. And he's led the league in fucking WAR 2 times since he left. And that was 4 years ago. Like that's how you could pay him. He's one of the premier players in the game. You can argue he's 1, you can argue he's 2, whatever. I ain't gonna get into all of that. He is one of the top 3 players in baseball, and he's 28? It's not like he's old. So what the fuck are we doing here?
I'll be honest, I have no idea how old he is because I it's something I haven't tried to think of in a long time.
Yeah, he's late 20s or early 30s.
Whatever. Age. He's 30 on the dot. Yeah, so he's nearly he's got 1 foot in the grave, is how I hear. You can't pay him.
No, I mean that's what some Red Sox fans would tell you. Like, oh, he's 30. What is he gonna do 12 years from now? I don't care. You're not paying for the back end of a contract anyway. On top of that, $30 million is reasonable as hell now. Imagine what it's gonna be 10 years from now.
It's just gonna keep getting cheaper.
Right.
Cheaper and cheaper. The reason you let a guy, in my estimation, I was saying that I argue so many things the same way, but about different topics that I think people think I'm going against myself when I'm not. Like when Kyrie left the Celtics, I was hurt as a Celtics fan because I liked the talent, but I was pro Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City. I was pro Kyrie leaving. Kyrie didn't have to let us trade him the way he did. Like it was okay. Players get to move however they want. Basketball is obviously different in terms of how you can re-sign people because there is a maximum amount. Whereas baseball, you can kind of set the maximum. And I also, when I did a thread on this the other day, never forget a lot of this is about player wage suppression. For everyone who wants to lick the owner's boots, they just instituted yet another tax because an owner came in, Steve Cohen of the Mets, and was like, I'm just going to keep spending until I win. And they were like, that's going to cost you even more. That only hurts the players. It doesn't hurt any owners. Like the White Sox, like you just said, giving out Benintendi, his largest contract ever. I'm pretty sure Carlos Santana was the biggest contract the Pirates have given out. The Rays, obviously, their largest extension is not looking good at the moment, but they gave out another. Who's the pitcher they signed this offseason? Yeah, Efron. That was their biggest.
Really good for them, not for nothing, but yeah.
But that was their biggest contract, right?
Richest free agent contract ever, yes.
That's embarrassing. Truly, none of these teams are hurting. Literally none of them. That's why I respect Jeff Passan. He's constantly telling people, open your books. If you're really struggling that bad, show us. And none of them will. None of them ever will, because none of them are struggling.
Right.
Angelos, the fucking Orioles owner, is the dumbest person in the world. His team's having the most success they've had in literally a decade. Truly a decade. And he's like, we're not going to be able to pay these guys. It's like, what are you talking about? First of all, yes, you could. B, why would you say that?
Yes, you can. And then why would you tell us that? I don't know if I would have keep these guys together. Bro, they're 19. What are you talking about? They're 19. Gunnar Henderson
haven't even finished their first season.
We can't even. They haven't even played in a playoff game yet. I haven't even finished one full season yet. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay these guys. First of all, why would you tell us that? Number one.
Right.
Number two, again, the Braves are right there. I'm not saying everybody can follow it because I don't know if the Braves I don't know what kind of dreams the Braves sell these dudes. We might find out 15 years from now that they was paying dudes under the table. I have no idea what the Braves are doing to get these people to accept these contracts. But like, there's a blueprint right there, though. All the same, like, yes, maybe you have to pay a little bit more than the Braves do to get this shit done. But like, you have nobody to blame but yourself if you have a special talent, a talent you know is a special talent, and then you let them walk. Unless it's like Juan Soto, which is like, yo, I'm not signing shit. Like, miss me with it. I'm not signing nothing. I don't know what Gunnar Henderson would sign. I have no idea what Adley Rutschman would sign. On down the list, I have no idea what Grayson Rodriguez would sign. You're telling us now, like 5 years before it's even relevant, yeah, I can't sign these dudes in the middle of the best Orioles season in a decade. Why would you tell us this? Why? Nobody even asked. Nobody asked. Nobody asked you this question. Nobody asked you to tell us this. Like, you could have just said, hey man, look, I'm enjoying the season, what it is, as what it is. We are contending. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. And boom, the question stopped. He's surrendering already? That's insane.
It was genuinely insane thing to say. I couldn't believe when he said that. But it's not even saying the quiet part loud anymore. Like, they're loudly telling you, we do not want to pay these players. And this is coming off of a lockout. Like, all of this stuff melds together. If you don't think the Red Sox were pumped, and the Yankees for that matter, about the Cohen tax, you're out of your mind. Like, these owners don't.
How was going up for luxury tax, if I'm not mistaken. He was cool with it. Like, he publicly said he was cool with it. So yeah, they're cool with it. They're very cool with it, with the luxury tax. And it's just they don't want to spend. And I mean, quite frankly, listen, the Mets and Padres seasons are so bad for baseball. I get it. The owners don't need an excuse. They damn sure don't need an excuse. But like, bro, they have a ready-made one though. Like, they don't need it, but it's a ready-made public excuse. Like, they don't need an excuse to not spend money, and they damn sure don't need anything to get fan support, because there's nothing that a lot of fans like more than saying fuck the players, even though the players are the one that they watch. Now, I don't know about you. I have never gone to Yankee Stadium to watch Hal Steinbrenner. Not a single day in my fucking life. Never. Not one gone to watch Hal Steinbrenner. But these people will lick the ass of the fucking ownership and then say fuck the players. Oh, how dare he want to leave? But then owners trade players all the fucking time and nobody cares. Like, that's what it is.
Xander signed his extension, and it was like an obvious hometown discount, and people were like, "This guy's way overpaid." And it's like, what are you talking about, dude?
They love these players until it's time to pay them. And it's a tale as old as fucking time.
It's
like, they're
crazy.
doing it with Gleyber Torres right now, even though I get it. The fan reaction to Gleyber Torres is very mixed. But like, those of us who like him, like me, a lot of people are like, oh, you want to pay him what, 7 years for $100 million? Oh, I don't know about that. Like, bro, that's perfectly normal for actual one of the few second basemen who actually hit the ball out of the park somewhat regularly. Like, that's perfectly fucking normal. They like these guys until it's time for them to get paid, and then they get paid. It's like, ooh, they become the fucking Lil Wayne meme with the fucking bags of dollars. Like, right, like, I don't know if I want to pay them with the owners' money. It's not your money. Why do you give a fuck? It's not your money.
Right.
I gotta go to Yankee Stadium and pay $24 for a fucking chicken bucket. I don't care what Hal got to pay these dudes. It's not my problem.
I don't remember like the dual press release of it being like, we've traded Mookie Betts. Tickets are now $5. Like, that's not what happened. That's not how that went down. They raised price. They always raise. Prices are always going to go up at Fenway, Yankee Stadium. I'm sure Wrigley, like all of the Dodgers, I'm sure they have the chart in their office and it's only pointing up. That's not like, oh, in 28, actually, we're going to come. No, that's not how it's going to happen. They're going to keep charging you more. And for certain teams, they're going to start giving you a more and more shit product. I don't even hate the team we're on right now. Like, I don't hate this Red Sox team. I would like it a lot more if Mookie Betts were on it. They'd be better. Who's to say when we lost to the Astros in 21, that doesn't go differently if Mookie's on the team? You don't trade guys like, if you're the Red Sox, if you're the Yankees, if you're the Dodgers didn't trade Seager. Was that a mistake? I haven't heard a single fucking person ever say not trading Corey Seager was a mistake. Not one. Because it's stupid. That's not how that works. They didn't even have an option to replace him. And they were just like, well, we'll wait for Shohei. And people believe them because they've proven it. They've won less than any team I've talked about so far. But they put their money where their mouth is. And it's respectable.
Me too.
Like, have you heard someone say not trading Corey Seager was a mistake?
No, and Corey Seager's having himself a season. Like, right. and nobody, and I mean, shit, again, going back to Mookie's MVP case, Mookie's played like 25 games at short. I don't even know who the fucking Dodgers regular shortstop is. Do you?
It's Miguel Rojas.
Exactly.
who stinks.
Exactly. And they let Corey Seager walk, and nobody said nothing because, well, the Dodgers also have a $300 million payroll, and they've paid dudes at every chance they got. Like, again, like the Mookie trade, where they took advantage of the fact that the Red Sox didn't want to pay him. So it's just, okay, they wanted to let Corey Seager walk. I'm sure they had their reasons. And quite frankly, listen, in a vacuum, it's easy to make the argument against paying somebody, like baseball wise, against paying somebody $35 million. It's just way harder to do when you're a bigger market team. Because if you want to say, listen, I'm not trying to pay Corey Seager through his age 40 season because the last 5 seasons of that shit are going to be ugly. I can't really sit here and tell you you're wrong. Like, that's how contracts work. You're not paying for the back end of them. You're paying for the front end of them. And then whatever you get at the back end is, it's going to get ugly, yes, but it is what it is. That's the price of doing business. If you don't want to do that, then develop your players better.
Or change the rules again, because this AAV shit hasn't always been the case.
True. Very true.
Like, that's where they fucked themselves. And I don't even know if it's fucked themselves as much as, like, this is exactly what they want. I'm wondering, and I have not read through, like, the MLB collective bargaining agreement, so nobody yell at me. When are we going to see a 40-year deal? Like, why not? Imagine if someone who really wants to sign Shohei. I know it sounds funny, but you already have teams paying deferred money anyways. So why wouldn't you? Like, is it illegal to sign a deal longer than this? Isn't the NBA? This isn't the NFL. I don't know that there is a limit. Like, what's stopping someone?
There isn't. I'm sure that'll be one of them things. If like the MLBPA would probably veto that shit, but there's technically no limit. Like there's no max. There's no max as far as years. There's no max as far as money. If you wanted to offer somebody 20 years, you could. Nobody's stopping you.
What was Julio's 15?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So that's fucking close to 20 already. You know
right.
I mean?
So
if someone wanted to opt, like, it's like, hey, Shohei, we'd love to pay $800 million. It would really suck for our cap. We would just be the Angels again. How about this? What if I give you a 25? Because it's only AAV. I can stack that money however I want because it's only AAV that gets brought into consideration. I'm going to pay you $1 million a year for that last 24 of them. I'm going to give you all of it right now today. And just so it's legal, I'm going to put $1 million a year every single year. Why not? What's stopping anyone from doing that? Since that's
it's not that different than the Nationals offering to pay Bryce Harper till he's like 87 years old. It's not that different.
Right.
It's deferring in a different way.
Right. On our books, Shohei Ohtani will be here for $1 million until 2050. And you know what? In 2050, we're going to make more than $1 million because we're going to be able to sell Shohei Ohtani jerseys for eternity with whatever team on the front. Like, why not? You're, I mean, you're operating in the plus if you do this. I can't wait.
Yes.
I can't wait for the first 35-year contract. What did the Islanders give DiPietro?
Oh, that was a good question. That was like what? I thought it was like 20, right?
That's what I thought too. That's why I brought it up. I thought it was a crazy long deal.
Let's see your DiPietro contract. Oh, it was 15.
Okay.
I remember it being more longer than 15. Maybe that's because I live in New York. And I was hearing about the Rick DiPietro contract every day for it felt like 20 years. I guess I was incorrect. It wasn't.
Very well. Like, I guess my point is I don't even know if the PA could shut it down because what's the difference between 15 and 25?
That's fair. I mean, there's really I don't know what the basis would be outside of optics. What would the basis be? Like if you have 20-year deals, or excuse me, close to 20-year deals, whatever. Like the next step is 20. Because like there's gonna be like example. Let's he plays catcher, so it's rough. But let's say somebody is going on the same trajectory as the Padres kid, Salas. Yeah, right? And he's like 17. He comes up to the bigs when he's 19, right? And then he's just lighting the place on fire. He's just him. And they go to the negotiating table. What's stopping somebody from offering him a 20-year deal at that point? What's stopping somebody? You're 19, like we'll sign you to age 40.
Well, even that, like that's an example where it's like he might actually still be playing. We already understand they're giving guys contracts to where they know they won't be able to perform near like replacement level. You know what I mean? Like you said, Seager last couple of years is going to be dog shit. And that's not his fault. That's just how life works. A lot of these guys are going to be dog shit towards the middle of their contract. We've seen plenty of guys sign contracts and year one be dog shit. Like, that's how it works. So I don't even think the argument can be will they be able to play? Because we already know that's been I'm trying to argue this as a lawyer, as someone who knows nothing about the law, but it's already been established. All I know about the law is everything's based off precedent. One, in professional sports history, in modern era, there has been a 25-year deal that was signed and approved. That was Magic Johnson with the Lakers. Terrible deal. 25 years, $25 million. Worst deal of all time.
Magic Albies.
Yeah, pretty much. So we already have that as established. And in baseball specifically, we have it established we know this guy's going to fucking suck ass for 7 of these 15 years, but we're okay with that because the AAV game. I don't know why anyone would offer a Shohei anything less than if you really want to offer him $1 billion over 25 years. No one's going to top that number, the billion.
That's true. That's true.
That's not even a crazy.
You got him until he's retired.
No doubt. And then you can have him I don't know, learn to juggle or something. Bring the in those last 15 years, he will be working.
Have him do magic tricks during the 7th inning stretch.
Anything. Play the organ.
That'd be a hit.
Take me out to the ball game with Shohei every game.
Right. You can do anything with Shohei at that point.
What's stopping? I don't think anything's stopping this from happening other than cowardice of being the first one to do it.
I agree, because I feel again, we just saw Julio sign, and Julio was 22 when he signed, and he signed a 15-year deal. I don't see why somebody wouldn't sign a 20-year deal.
I can't wait. The actual, I look forward to the next time we play the Dodgers, so I can get angrier about this Mookie thing. The Red Sox were never right in trading Mookie. The Red Sox were never right in not re-signing Xander. The Red Sox were not right in waiting as long as they did to sign Devers. Not only did they waited until also Xander was gone, so he had all the leverage. And again, I'm happy my guys.
Balls, man.
Right. I'm happy my guys get paid, but if it's going to come if they're going to allow the team to have the excuse as to why they suck and can't pay players, that's when it pisses me off. I have no problem with the guys getting their money. I have a problem with the front office having excuses that other fans, smart fans, again, people I respect, and the dumb ones, people I don't respect, but the smart ones are the ones that I'm concerned with. The amount of people this week I saw that I know are intelligent being Mookie never wanted to be here. Based on what? The word of the Red Sox? The word of the guys who made David Ortiz dance for his supper every year? The word of the guys who slandered Terry Francona on the way out of town? These are not serious, believable people. Stop believing them.
What's the single worst thing you've read in defense of the Mookie trade?
I don't know. It's all so fucking infuriating. I saw someone the other day, and I just tweeted at him, "You're an idiot." They were like, "Oh, you think you're so fucking smart? You're just doing the same thing we're doing. You're just believing Mookie." And it's and then he said players are greedy, which always is just the fuck are you talking about? They're barely getting an actual percentage of what they're making for the team. Exactly. And I understand that's work everywhere, but the rest of us don't have our salaries plastered on television. You can't Google that shit. So that's where it's you just see these big numbers. They don't show you the bigger numbers. You know what I mean? They don't show you a lot of Bill Belichick. No one knows how much he makes.
True. Nobody. Very true. Yeah.
It's rumored, but no one knows. No one knows what these GMs make. They don't know what the teams bring in annually. You only see what the players make, and that's intentional. It's intentional so you can hate them. Mm-hmm. Call them greedy and shit like that. But that one, it was just all I've talked about is things the Red Sox have said. So saying I believe Mookie isn't even true. I do believe him. I do believe that he would stay here. I mostly believe he wanted to be paid what he was worth. And according to the Red Sox and the Red Sox only, that never even came close. So it's I'm on Mookie's side here, mostly because I understand the game. I understand the game that he just wanted to be paid. Because he does represent, he is in the players union to my knowledge. I don't think he is in the players union. He's in the players union. He's an MVP. He's still one of the best players in the league. Probably going to win again this year. You can't sign a hometown deal when you're that good. That's not how that works. You have to be at the top of the market.
Right,
Trey
especially
Turner.
when you don't have years of team control left. This is not okay,
Right.
you have 4 years of team control left, you want to lock in some money. This is I'm about to hit free agency. I'm Mookie. I'm Marcus Lynn Betts, motherfucker. Like I'm not gonna take no discount from nobody for what? I don't have to.
So when Mookie laughs when people try and pull the gotcha shit on him, like, you said you didn't regret turning down the offer, but you said they never gave you a $300 million offer. And he laughs at that. He's like, no, they didn't. That's just what they told you. that's this bolt. That's why he was like, yeah, go ask John Henry. Go ask him what actually happened. And of course he knows that can't happen. Like he knows no one's gonna go ask him, and because he owns the newspaper.
And it's
he
like,
owns the team. He owns the television station. Like
what you relayed
this is
to
why
me
misinformation does like triple doubles every day on the internet, because people are fucking stupid.
True. That's true. I mean, shit. We just had a case of misinformation yesterday. Fucking there was Steve Harvey's wife. You were talking about his wife cheated on him with the fucking bodyguard and all that. Like it's just a random dude with a verified check who started that. That shit spread like fucking wildfire. But yeah, I don't understand how fans continually do the and the shit that you relayed to me about how what they said was they offered him 300. Mookie came back with 400, and they didn't. The rest too rich for my blood. Even though it's like it's not like he said 800, he said 400. To most normal functioning non bootlicking individuals, that shit doesn't even make them look good. Like you could come up with a better excuse than that. Because if you would have just said, listen, if they would have just traded Mookie singularly, fuck David Price for a minute. They would have traded Mookie singularly and just said, listen, we're trying to spread out the money a little bit more evenly, blah, 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 blah. Most people would still hate the shit, but I feel like the anger would be a little bit less. It'd be like, okay, fine. You don't want to pay the guy through his age 40 season, whatever, fine. But it's like, he offered 400. We offered, like, bro, $300 million is a lot of fucking money. Number one, right? $400 million is not that much more, relatively right. Speaking. Why couldn't you come back with, okay, we'll give you 340? How is that not the next logical step here?
That's the part that drives me insane. Is people like, well, they offered 300. If he had signed for 250 with the Dodgers, I'd be like, you guys have a great point. That's not what happened. He got more. In the middle of a pandemic, he still got more.
Yes.
Like, it's not a good
if
point.
If you wanted to keep him, that should not have stopped you.
No.
So it's just, they put that out to make Mookie the bad guy. I'm just like, how does besides the fact that fans are just thirsty to lick boots, how does that make him the bad guy? It just sounds like you can't fucking negotiate. That's what it sounds like to me. Because that doesn't sound like a negotiation. That just sounds like, oh wow, we're done. He wanted way more than we thought he wanted, and it's like, but it's an $100 million gap. I'm sure that's been resolved before. Like it's not the first time.
Without question. And I realized I don't even think I finished my point like 20 minutes ago. The reason I brought up Ohtani, you don't trade him because you don't know what's going to happen between now and free agency. Let's say Mookie does get hurt before you trade him.
Right.
You have access to his medicals other teams don't have. Maybe he is like, hey, I am down by 300 now, and you can get a deal done. And then he's fine because it's the future and injuries get healed now. With Shohei, I now think like the Angels already, like the odds were that he would be staying in the LA area, whether it's them or the Dodgers. I think the Angels are the clear front runner now because other teams are going to start doing some bullshit like, we don't want you to pitch as much, We're going to give you less because you're not going to pitch. I think the Angels are in the driver's seat. If they want to pay Shohei, I don't think he's going anywhere. Now, it sucks that he's hurt, and we'll touch on that a little bit more. I'm not happy he's hurt. But if I'm an Angels fan right now, I don't feel the worst about my prospects of keeping Shohei Ohtani in my team's jersey for the rest of his career. Mookie Betts, this goes back to the COVID point. Saying the Dodgers only signed him because of COVID's so fucking stupid. Because, of course, that would have happened here then. If you just don't fucking trade him in February, which I don't want to hear like, oh, they didn't know COVID was a thing. COVID was a thing in February. People were talking about it.
Sure was.
It was a thing people understood in 2020. It was on the news. People were talking about it.
Yep.
The fact they traded him in February, let him play it out. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't give a fuck about the comp picks. Like, that has nothing to do with my argument. I do not care about comp picks when you're talking about the best player in the league. They didn't want to reset the market. They didn't want to be close to the top of the market, which, by the way, they did with Devers' contract. They reset the market entirely.
Unnecessarily, because they could have, paid him 2 or 3 years earlier. But
they could have gave him like 180 over 10, like 5 years ago.
Legit. And they decided we're just gonna play it up until he got like 2 years of team control left. After Xander leaves, so now it's like we can't let both of them leave for PR reasons. And then
he would have been a free agent this winter. It wasn't even. It was 1 year.
Okay, sorry. So yeah. So like he had them by the balls at that point. When again, you could have prevented this. I don't understand why more teams don't do it. Cause I know it's not we don't want to take advantage of our players. I know it ain't fucking that. So it's like if you're the Reds, why is Elliot De La Cruz not signed yet? Like what more do you need to see? Well, why are you not signed yet? Unless he's just saying "fuck you," I'm not signing, which we would have heard that already.
Sure.
Like why are you not signed?
I do think there are some guys, especially Boris clients, who are like, yeah, I want to hit free agency.
For sure.
If you're scared, go to church. Like that's the Red Sox were scared. Simple and plain.
Yes, they were.
They were scared and they deflected. They called him greedy. They sewered him on the way out. People bought it. I'm going to be having this argument the rest of my goddamn life. It's infuriating. Not only is he traded, it's worse by the year because he just keeps being really good. He keeps playing more positions than he's ever played before. And it's infuriating. He's got a podcast now. He's great on that. Sucks.
There's nothing that Mookie's not great at, by the way. He's great at everything. It's amazing. Like he could bowl, he could hoop, he could play baseball. Obviously, he could fucking do a pod. What can't Mookie do? Oh, sign with the Red Sox. That's what he can't do. Right? Got it.
You draft and develop. Like I'll always be on the side paying your own guys, just from like a team building strategy. Paying your own guys, even if it's like the idea of a hometown discount is so fucking stupid to me. Paying your guys more than free agents that you're bringing in makes all the sense in the world to me. Like I understand free agents cost money and all that. Paying the guys, especially when they've already won for you, when they've already produced for you. This is Boston and New York. We know it takes certain type of players to even play in these markets. When they've already proven they can do that, it's insane to think like there's a guy who isn't worth the money. Insane. We'll be lucky to develop anyone half as good as Mookie like the rest of my life. And you trade him for a worse right fielder. That's not even disrespectful. It's just true.
It's true.
A guy who hasn't been a catcher until this year, a professional level catcher until this season. What, 3 years later? And a shortstop who you just DFA'd outright and is on the Nationals now and isn't even their shortstop. He's just a utility guy. That was the haul. Awful. This is why you don't trade Shohei. None of those players, that's how you're going to look at them. It's like, oh, yeah, that guy's okay. Yeah, I guess that guy's a major league player. Oh, that guy never turned out to be anything. You can't trade players like this.
Like, I don't. The thing with the Angels trading Shohei, I understood both sides. Now, Shohei's UCL throws a whole wrench into this, but like, let's pretend for argument's sake that he had stayed healthy through the free agency. The only way it becomes dumb is if the Angels don't make it a good faith attempt to re-sign him. Then you should have traded him. Like if you make a good faith attempt to re-sign him and he just goes somewhere else, okay, man, that's how it goes. If you have the most money there, he goes somewhere else. Hey, man, that's just how it goes. But like, if you think you have any chance of re-signing him, you don't trade him. Like, in my opinion, like you just don't.
1,000%. Yeah, and if you, I think you had to make that decision last deadline too. Like, hey, we're gonna try our absolute best, not fake try. Like, we will be the highest bidder, even if it's by $1. We'll be the highest bidder.
Right.
You had to make that decision
last
deadline.
Want to go somewhere else? He gonna be poorer for it. Like, that's just how this is gonna go.
Right. I agree 1,000%. And it's insane. The people who were like celebrating him getting hurt just to laugh at the Angel. I know no one's happy Shohei was hurt, but the amount of people I was like, this is why you trade him. No, it's not. This is exactly why you keep him. This is the exact reason you
pretty
keep
much.
him.
Right, because if we want to go, if we want to go there, like he's going to be cheaper. I don't like that, obviously, but that's the fact of the matter. Like there's no other way around it. Shohei's price tag went down.
I think I think I think a lot of teams are thinking that way, and they're already out. I think there's, like what I just said, you'll be able to sell Shohei Ohtani jerseys forever. You'll be able to get that money no matter what the price tag is. You'll be able to get it back. I think it made the pool of teams smaller, and they don't even know it yet. But I don't think he's going to be much cheaper, if really cheaper at all.
Well, I mean, it depends. What do you think he was going to get in the first place?
Around 6.
So part of him getting that is the fact that
Well, between 5 to 6. Between 5 to 6.
But part of him getting that is the arm. He's not going to pitch for you for at least a year.
Yeah.
So I don't see how he's going to be the same price, especially if you're gonna tell me that people are bowing out, which I agree with. So like if he has less suited, I don't see how he's getting 5 or 6. I hope he does, but I don't see how he's getting that.
It's not like the amount of teams makes you more expensive. It's more which teams are they?
True.
The Mets will still be involved. The Yankees and Red Sox won't be.
The Yankees will be in tweets. That's it. Like, sure. The Yankees are doing research on research. Just fucking type his name on YouTube, bro.
Who is he? Yeah, who's this guy here?
Who is the Shohei Ohtani? Number 17. He throws righty bats left. Oh, he had a what war last year? Oh, get him on the phone. Like, no, like we know what Shohei Ohtani is, bro.
Part of me still views all. I know how it's not the same sport. It's not the same business as it was 100 years ago. There is still this sideshow element to Shohei specifically, where it's like people are going to come out and watch this guy, even if he's not like that's going to last a while. You're going to make billions off of him. I can't imagine being like 350. Like I can't imagine. Like you're going to make your money back.
These people aren't serious, bro. Because it's like obviously the baseball wise, he makes you better. 1,000%. Obviously, that doesn't even need to be addressed, bro. It's good for business. So why are we gonna get? We're gonna get to free agency. We're gonna hear a 14 interested out of 30 or 32, whatever, however many teams there are. Like, why the like? Are you y'all not serious businessmen? Because listen, I ain't no econ major and I ain't no genius, but I've always heard you got to spend money to make money. That's what I've always heard. So like, if you got to spend money to make money, there aren't many better ways to spend money to make money in baseball to Shohei Ohtani. He gonna repay that contract in no time. The whole thing, not 1 year of it. The whole thing. He gonna repay that shit in no fucking time. He gonna make you money hand over foot. That's how I know how Steinbrenner not serious, because we gonna hear all the Yankees are doing due diligence on the medicals and all that bullshit. And it's like, how? All you're in it for is to make money, which I don't even fault. I hate it because he owns my favorite fucking team. But I don't fault you for it. It's a business for you. Cool. You know who's good for business? Shohei fucking Ohtani. It's not hard, bro. It's not difficult. I promise.
There are going to be teams that are like, we value you at $350 for your bat. You've got to earn everything pitching. They're going to insult him. He's just going to walk out. Like, I don't like teams are going to be like, this is a sound business strategy on our side. And he's going to be like, why don't you go fuck yourself, and leaves. Like, I've heard the Giants rumored a lot for him, which is hilarious. They come up every off season. It's like, they're going to sign some players.
We're still doing the Giants thing, bro. Still, like, you haven't learned.
It's very funny. Like when they signed Correa for 7 hours last offseason, people were all in my mentions. Like, we told you to sign someone, and then he was literally like getting dressed, and they were like, by the way, we're canceling the contract. And it turns out to be the right deal. Like, I'm not even making fun of that. Like, Correa has not been good this year. It happens.
He is not at
all. But yeah, I don't see the Giants doing it. Like, a lot of these teams, I think, are going to fuck up. I think all it's going to take is one team to just be like, we're going to give you a half.
I've heard the Cubs are going to be very serious about this.
They're another team. It's hard. I heard they were going to sign every shortstop in the market last year too. They got one. They got a good one, but the plan was not to just.
Well, I heard the exact opposite. Like, I heard they weren't, allegedly at least, all granted. So I heard that they weren't really in on Trey Turner because they're saving that money for Shohei. That's the quote. do whatever with that you want to do. I think they're going to be in on him because apparently the owner is kind of he's kind of trying to make a statement. So whatever. Either way, I think they're going to be in on him.
What I will say, and this is some light racism, I do think the teams you've seen spend on the top Japanese players the last 3 years will be tied to Shohei this offseason. I think the Mets, I've already seen Mets fans saying they're going to get Shohei and Yamamoto to go with Senga. And I do believe the Mets and the Mariners, I think, are the two teams that have signed the most players out of the NPB. Um, so that's not crazy to assume. The Cubs won. Wouldn't shock me. They got Seiya. They spent a lot for Seiya. Wouldn't surprise. I know Seiya and Shohei get along just from the interactions I've seen of them.
Mhm.
And I don't think the Red Sox got uh, Yoshida just to get Yoshida. I think they're going to be in on Yamamoto, and I do think they'll have a meeting with Shohei. I don't know how serious they'll be, but I know they'll take a meeting.
I think Shohei should hang up the phone and not say anything to Boston. Personally,
No, I mean, again, like I said, it's not how many teams are negotiating; it's the right ones. If Shohei and his agents can just be like, "Hey, we're talking to the Red Sox," that will drive the price up on other teams.
I don't need that. I don't need that stress. I don't even meeting. Lunch. I don't need none of that.
We're not signing them. It kills me.
I know, but I don't need it.
I do think we'll be in on Soto.
So,
I don't think we're going to be in on Shohei.
listen, the Yankees sign Juan Soto. I will find his contact information myself somehow, and I'll be like, yo, I will take you and I'll show you everything about Washington Heights that you need to know. Everything, where you could get your cut, where you could get food. I'll show you everything, Juan. Just let me handle it. I got you.
I'll be honest, I've heard better pitches than I'll show you Washington Heights. I don't know. That's getting it done.
Listen, he gonna be in the Heights for 5 minutes and understand why I wanted to take him through the Heights and show him around.
No, I get it. I understand. I understand. But you sent me something about how pandering your front office is. It's like the opposite of the Red Sox. The Red Sox feed their fans shit, and a lot of them just gobble it up. Like, yeah, this is the truth. And it seems to be the opposite here.
The Yankees feed the fans a lot of shit. Let's get that out of. Let's knock that off. Yes, they do. But Lindsay Adler wrote a piece this week for those wondering where what he was referencing. Just going through basically everything that's gone wrong in Yankeeville for the last year or whatever. So obviously, Yankee fans, I can't speak for other fan bases. I don't follow y'all. I don't know. But Yankee fans, they don't like having the mirror held up in front of their faces at all. Like, that's just, you call them out on asshole behavior, they become victims. You call them out on any questionable behavior, they become victims, rinse and repeat. So, as I said at one point in the piece, the more the Yankees became like the team that some of the fans or a lot of the fan base wanted them to be, the less successful they became, which is objectively true. Because, yes, one can say, oh, they wanted Machado, they wanted Bryce. Yes, those things were never happening. Everybody wants Machado and Bryce. Shit, the GM wanted them. Like, what GM have you ever met that says, I don't want to spend money? That's not his job. Like, he wants to spend the fucking owner's money.
The actual two teams.
Not even them. They might parrot some bullshit in the press, but everybody wants to fucking spend money. But regardless, those things weren't happening. So what have you been hearing, or at least what have I been hearing for now since 18? 5 years, 6 years. Oh, the Yankees need more contact. They need more contact. I've heard this, and this is why the Yankees were good still. It's not even like if it popped up this year, like, all right, whatever. They suck. They say whatever. They need more power, contact, speed, whatever the fuck. Cool. They need everything. Got it. This was in 18 where they mashed the entire year. They ran into a team that won 108 games, and they were almost as good as that team. They lost in 4 games. That stuff happens. They were the Yankees won 2 less games than the Red Sox that year. Let's not knock it off. They were almost as good. No, the Yankees won like 105 or 104, something like that year.
We won. And keep talking. I'm looking that up. I don't think.
Yeah. So it's just since 18 they've been doing this, and now Lindsay Adler says this, and now they're all like, oh well, I didn't do this, and of like, why is she coming at us this way, and why is she blaming the fans? She's not blaming shit, bro, except the GM. The implication here is what is the old adage? If you listen to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. Ain't that the adage? Like, yeah, if you listen to the fans, you'll be fucking sitting with them. The adage that's what she's implying. It's his fault. It's management's fault for taking any fan's opinion seriously. Because you know what? They fucking shouldn't. And I'm saying this as a fan. Don't listen to me, bro. I'm not a fucking professional. I'm just a dude with a podcast who watches the games, and then this year at least, when the other team scores 2 runs, I mentally check out because this shit is cooked. It's over. So I'm just a fan. Don't listen to me. I'm not a professional. Listen to the game's trends. Because quite frankly, again, Brian Cashman I think is a better GM, or was a better GM than some Yankee fans give him credit for. But looking at the current league and being like, you know what we need to do? Hit for less power is fucking insane. Like it ignores literally every trend that you could find. And this is not to say, hey, go get 9 Joey Gallos. I'm not being an extremist. Like I'm not that guy. And quite frankly, I don't, as much as like I think every single contact base hitter in the history of the league is overrated. That's a topic we'll get to another time. All of them.
Sick.
I don't. All of them. Pete Rose especially, but another topic another day. Anyways, I don't care what type of hitters you are, as long as you give me good ones, bro. I don't give a fuck if they contact hitters. If they're productive and they help create runs, that's all I give a shit about personally. So when people are saying this, like, oh, Yankee fans, I mean, part of this is that I don't like Yankee fans. That's part of this, admittedly.
Same.
I don't like Yankee fans, but I don't feel seen when you talk about Yankee fans, even though I am one. But it's like, yes, some of the shit that you say can apply to me. Like, can I be an asshole? Sure. Not gonna knock that. Sure. Fine. Oh, you wanted contact hitters. I didn't. So you're not speaking about me. You're not speaking to me. So why am I taking offense to this? Like, oh, when all else fails, blame the fans. Like, they're not blaming the fans, bro. And Lindsay has a pretty intimate intimate knowledge of what the fans want because she wrote for the goddamn team for like 3 fucking years. So I'm sure she saw all of the morons in the mentions every time the Yankees scored 0 runs in a game, talking about, oh, this is why we can't hit for so much power. We need balance. We need contact. So she is very qualified to speak about this topic. But again, they hear Yankee fans and anything negative and blah 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 because nobody can read and comprehend anymore. I don't know. Did they stop teaching that in school? I don't like what happened here.
You said anymore. I mean, people's reading comprehension's always. I say this as someone who's written thousands of blogs, like very clearly. Deion Sanders called me racist because I wrote a blog. Remember when Drake went to Bronny's high school game?
Yes.
I wrote this blog that was basically one long punchline to calling Drake a groomer because I was like, you should not bring him to a high school, and let alone with him drunk. And Dion only read the headline. I know he didn't read the blog. I don't expect Dion to, but he was just like, these are the kind of racial stereotypes we like to stay away from. And I was just like, this, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is me saying the Canadian fella texts 11 from Stranger Things, which he's 14 years old. That's the whole joke. That's the whole blog was me saying, like, keep him away from high schools. And it's just like, I got that every time I wrote anything. It was just like, yeah, here's America's reading comprehension.
They really can't read and comprehend because I don't know how you read that because you read the damn snippet I sent you. I don't know how you read that and came to any conclusion outside of, hey, don't listen to fans. Like, that's the conclusion. It's not we're not blaming the fans. Fans have opinions. We all have opinions.
Right.
Shit, we are 2 fans of the show. We have fucking opinions and we express them as such, right? But I don't want Yankee management to listen to me. Like, honestly, like, I really don't. Outside of the LeMahieu contract, you could have kept that shit. Yeah, I could have told you, like, yo, that was a bad idea. The IKF shit, too, that was a bad idea.
Up right now.
Oh, buddy. We can go.
Real quick. Before you give the Yankees things they didn't even deserve. 162, just like I thought. 8 games back.
They won 118?
100. It's still a lot. Like, I don't know why you're upset.
19, they won like 105. 19,
probably.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, it was 19. My apologies.
19, they went 103 and 59.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so all right, fair enough. Sorry for giving the Yankees too much credit. I apologize. I know that's not welcome on this program.
No.
Apologies. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just these fans they kill me because like you wanted more contact. Shit, you got it, and the offense went into the fucking tank. And yeah, the LeMayu thing to touch on that real quick. LeMayu got it made in this fan base, dude. I try not to let the dislike show too much. The guy is a good player, and he's a good player. Even with the bat being mid, like he's an average bat and a really good glove. That's a good player. The problem is not with him as a player in a vacuum. The cult following he has is my problem. Like, because bro, I was having an argument the other day, and dude was like, because I questioned the contract. I was like, well, the contract is bad. Da, da, da. He comes in my mentions talking about, well, he had a career altering foot injury. Okay, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I'll let he's going out there every day. I don't know how it's altered it because he's been the same guy he was outside the rabbit ball years. But whatever, let's play along. Let's play along. His foot is his, now he's in my mention saying, oh, you were saying what about DJ? So it's either DJ is injured or he's back. There's no in between. Like he's injured or he's back. And the Yankees are gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe with this guy having a good 2 months when they're out of contention. They're gonna bring him back, and we're gonna be talking about his 98 WRC plus again next year, and we're gonna do the same dance where, oh well, his foot or his toe or his breath or whatever the fuck is injured on him, I don't care, and we're gonna do this shit all the fuck over again. But he's been good since the All-Star break. I can't knock him. He has been. Whatever he changed is working. Good for him. I can only speak for me. I ain't no math major. I take the 3-year sample over the 3-week sample, but that's just me. That's just one man's opinion.
You said move on from him. Like there's not like he's going to be in the Yankees until that contract's out.
I mean, move on from him as in don't pencil him in as a fucking regular. That's what I mean. Okay. They're not trading him like that. They're not trading him unless they want to eat money. How would rather die than do that?
Yeah, I mean, I get sick watching like Keibert Ruiz. It's like he could be here. And again, I don't hate Wong, but it's like, and again, if the idea was to save money with the Mookie trade, you could have just traded like Benintendi's value. I know you hate him. Benintendi's value in 19 and 20 was way higher than it is today.
Correct.
You could have just attached him to David Price, asked for nothing back, like just nothing. You take these two players, we'll take who's your like 32-year-old in single A. We'll take him back. Like that's you could have done that. You would have saved the same amount of money. Like it would have been fine.
Like they traded Mookie and then torpedoed their own return. Like I'll never understand it. I'll never understand it. Like,
and then traded Benintendi anyways. Like they still did that.
Right. And they traded Ben. I don't remember the return they got for Ben. Was it anything of note?
They got 5 players from the Royals. One of them Red Sox.
That's all I need to know.
Red Sox and Yankees and Orioles legend Franchi Cordero was in that trade. Josh Winkowski, who's been good, was in that trade. There's another player who's like okay in AAA right now. And then there was like a 17-year-old named Freddie Valdez, who I think's already out of the system, but I was quite high on him. But yeah, that.
So it was basically nothing.
About as much as you got from Mookie when you really look at it. Like, considering the talent differential between those two players, about as much.
Hey, man, don't disrespect Alex Verdugo like that.
Verdugo's fine. I mean, I've been floating it pretty much all season, really since last offseason. I don't see there's any way he's on this team next year. And it's not even like a knock on him. But when you look at the rest of the team, the lineup really isn't the problem. I think we're still like top 5, top 6 in runs scored. So him and Soto come up at the exact same time. I do think the Red Sox are going to make a legitimate push to sign Soto. He fits the age. They don't mind giving out those big Devers contracts to. The position's open at the same time. It makes a lot of sense. Like it's the best hitter to come into baseball since Ted Williams. Makes a lot of sense.
It makes no sense to me, in my opinion.
For that to be the guy you bet big on makes a lot of sense. But when you look at it, it's like, all right, center field. Duran looks like he can play. Duvall's a free agent at the end of the year, but he's kind of mashed the whole time he's been here. He's only 34. You could theoretically give him a 2-3 year deal, and that's you need two center fielders regardless. So I don't think that's a terrible idea. Yoshida's in left. We're in year 1 of 5 on that deal. He's in left. Third's locked up. Short's locked up, both with Story and Meyer coming up. Second, I think, is the only position you used to be able to argue you could do something about, but even right now, Arias and Pablo Reyes are perfectly competent second basemen. Like, start one, the other's your swing middle infielder. Like, that's perfect. That's better than we've had since Pedroia was here, and that has been the case for like 6-7 years. So that's our best second base combo like in a long time. First, Casas has locked up. Catcher, you have Wong, and like McGuire's there, but like catcher can be whoever you like. It does not matter. Just genuinely doesn't matter. So when you look at the rest of the team, it's like, all right, where are the options to upgrade? It's really just right. And if you trade him this offseason, you'll get something for him. It's going to be a bullpen arm. You could package him with other prospects of teams. Well, what you saw last year was like a lot of teams wanting guys that can play in the majors right now and younger guys. You're not seeing as many, oh, here's a promising 19-year-old in single A for like a real human. So I think you could package Verdugo with, I think Rafaela is going to be on the trade table. I think Nick York's going to be on the trade table. I don't know if they're going to really want to put like Roman Anthony out there. I don't know that they're going to want to put I'd be shocked if they traded Meyer. That would be them saying like, "Hey, we actually think he stinks," which would be quite a pivot.
Yeah,
quite a pivot. But yeah, that's like when I look at the team. If you do want to upgrade, and I don't even view it as an upgrade. I view it as like getting ready to go all in on Soto, because the other option is paying him, which I think would be not the right move. He's just he's okay. He's not bad. I don't think he's great either.
I would like to offer you a lightly used Kyle Higashioka. What would you say to that?
For what?
Anything. I don't care. Anything. A toothbrush. A sandwich.
I mean, we had like Jorge Alfaro back there. Yesterday we were playing two catchers at one point. We had McGuire behind the dish, and we had Wong at second.
I'm telling you, Kyle Higashioka, man. Like, we'll give him to you free of charge. We don't even want nothing. How about we just make the transaction? The Yankees trade Kyle Higashioka, Boston trades, and just blank. Like it's an error, but it's not really an error. Like Boston trades.
The last time that happened was Garrett Whitlock.
Well, I mean, they drafted him in the Rule 5, right?
It was.
Okay, so I remember one Yankee Red Sox trade in my lifetime. That was the Stephen Drew trade, and God, Stephen Drew was here.
No, Adam Ottavino, friend. You traded us Ottavino.
Okay.
That was like Heim's second move. After he traded Mookie, he was like, you know what? Watch this shit.
I do remember that. And I remember the same Yankee fans who hated Ottavino because, well, he comes and he walks fucking everybody. How could we trade him to the Red Sox? Why do you think they traded him to the Red Sox?
I mean, he was good for us.
Sure, but he wasn't that good for the Yankees. And he
wasn't.
So,
and I remember writing about when he hit free agency. He started talking a lot of shit about Babe Ruth. And there were only two teams super interested in signing him, and it was the Red Sox and the Yankees. And I remember proclaiming, whoever he picks, he's not going to be good for that team. Because you can't go into that rivalry immediately talking shit about Babe Ruth. Pedro eased into it. It was years down the line before he started talking shit about Babe Ruth. Ottavino wasn't even, he was still Rocky. And he was like, I'd put him down.
I'd mow him down. He wouldn't be shit. Like, it was like, all right, that's an interesting approach.
And he was bad for the Yankees, great for the Red Sox. But Whitlock, you wanted to talk about Whitlock making one hell of a play.
Listen, Major League infielders act like pitchers are damsels in distress whenever the fucking ball goes in the air. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that everything equal, like you want the pitcher to catch them as opposed to your second baseman. I get that. But have you ever watched a pop-up go up and there's like a moment of doubt where the pitcher even eases towards the ball. They're, oh, no, 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 no. Like, yo, he's an athlete too. Like, he ain't me. Relax, he's an athlete. Like, I'm sure if he had to catch a pop up, it would be fine. Yes, I prefer my third baseman, shortstop, whoever catch a pop up. But like, relax. Either way, bro, that was an effort, dude. Like he hauled ass to get there. And hey, I get, and what I'm about to say is rational. I know how this went. Like the umpire called that shit probably while the ball's in the air. Fine. Hey man, you override that umpire. Give that man his out. God damn it. Give that man his fucking out. He worked his ass off for it, bro. Dove all up in foul territory, got his fucking uniform dirty. Give that man his out that he fucking earned and that he got, man. Give it to him. Like, oh, batters interference, fuck that. Or catches interference, whatever it was. Fuck that. Give that man his out. He earned it.
You know, Wong, I don't know what Wong was cooking. He just kind of stands up and I think it was Bregman.
It was Bregman.
Who hit it? Yeah. He just like kind of stands up and like tries to like shoulder tackle him. And the ump's like, I guess that's batter's interference. And Whitlock, yeah, he took off. He makes the play. I guess in the clubhouse, I think Haupt's one of those. I remember when Buchholz was on the team, it was just like, oh, he's comfortably the fastest guy on the team. Like, not even, no close second, like comfortably the fastest. So I think Haupt's one of those just like insane athletes. And I think Whitlock, his like caption on Instagram or something was like, I told him I was the most athletic, and it was just very funny. I like seeing they're still not out of it because the Rangers are free falling. The Rangers don't want to be in the playoffs, it would appear. So the Red Sox aren't out of it. They got more with Houston this week. Then they got the Royals next weekend. Got to sweep the fucking Royals. If you want me to take you seriously, sweep the Royals. You didn't last time. Now's your chance. Just sweep them. Make life easier on yourself. Try and take 2 from Houston. I know that's not easy. Sweep the Royals. But when I was playing Babe Ruth, which I know everyone doesn't have the same name for ages 13 to 15 post Little League career. For us, it was Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. When I was playing Babe Ruth, we were always taught if the pop-up's behind the mound, it's not yours. Because they don't want you tripping over the mound, over the rosin, like whatever's back there. Mm-hmm. So I threw a pitch and someone just popped it sky high. And I just saw it pop up and I just pointed and started walking off the mound forward just to like get out of the way. It landed against the rubber, like the front of the rubber, like right where you put your foot to push off. It didn't even bounce because it landed in a hole. It just landed and everyone just looked at me. I was like, what you looking at me for? Where is everyone? Little hustle, fellas. Like, what? What is this? I felt like such a dickhead. I was like, even if it lands behind it a little, I'm off the hook. But no, it landed in the rubber. I was like,
look at bad teammate Coley Mick.
Probably could have come down with that one. It was a tough scene. It was very tough.
The man pointed in the sky and just walked off. Like, job done. I did my job. Like, all right.
I didn't even like look up at it. I just saw it went up, and I was like, "That's someone else's problem." I did my job. It just lands, and I was like, Like my first baseman wasn't even close. Like he was like, I think the rest of the team kind of looked around, like we're just letting this one fall. Like we're not busting our ass for this.
Bad teammate Coley Mick, man.
That was always funny to me. Just the loudest thud. Like, so yeah, shout out Whitlock. Yeah, I'll never get over the Mookie Betts trade ever in my life. The more people argue with me, the stronger I become. That's really all I got.
Mookie for MVP. I love Mookie Betts. One of my favorite players in baseball.
I love him too.
Love Mookie.
Love him too. Got his jersey on sale after they traded him.
Love Mookie. Clearance sale.
I got a Soto jersey. Like the day players get traded, like I got a Soto Nationals jersey immediately. It was like $40. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what team he plays for.
Right. Because at that point, it's about the name on the back of the jersey, not the name on the front. You ain't a fan of the Nationals or the Padres. Who cares?
Instant throwback. I don't need to wait for Mitchell and Ness
And
to,
Mookie Betts won
to
championships
retro it.
with the Red Sox. So it was like, all right, man, whatever. Like, okay, yeah, I like Mookie Betts. So what? Yeah.
It's infuriating. We're 2 back of Toronto, so we still have to clear fucking them. They're annoying.
Frauds.
They are frauds. I hope they continue to be frauds. I miss Mookie Betts. Always will. Team's better with it. We also haven't found a leadoff hitter since he left. Like, not only have we not found a real right fielder because Verdugo's bounced back, he's played all 3 positions in the outfield. We haven't found a consistent right fielder. We haven't found a second baseman. We didn't have a shortstop until 2 weeks ago. All of these are positions he plays. Literally all of them. Could have used him anywhere. Haven't found a leadoff hitter. He's the best leadoff hitter in MLB history, like comfortably.
Oh, relax.
What do you say, Bernie Williams? What the fuck are you gonna say?
Relax. Ricky Henderson hit leadoff.
For someone who like values power over everything else, I'm shocked.
Whoa. Let me make myself clear. The comfortably part is all I'm talking about. If you want to say the best, be my fucking guest. Comfortably, all right. Let's slow down, pal. Slow down, pal.
I think it's comfortable. He's the most 3 home run games in MLB history. Somehow, I don't know how he got that like very immediately.
Really?
Too.
Wow, that's an incredible stat. Didn't know that.
He's so fucking good.
I love Mookie. The thing I love about Mookie is he reminds me of like super duper best case scenario Alfonso Soriano. Like if you just maxed out everything Soriano did, that's Mookie Betts. I love Soriano as a player.
Soriano's incredible.
Right, I love Soriano as a player because he was like 140 pounds, carrying around like 50 pounds and still hitting 40 homers. It's great. I loved him so much. I loved Soriano and I love Mookie.
Soriano was horrifying to face. Like whenever he dug in, I felt that way about a couple of players. Some turned out to be as good as Soriano. Others were Miguel Andujar. But terrifying nevertheless. Soriano is one of those guys, like, probably should be in the Hall of Fame, never will be.
Yeah. How many home runs did Soriano hit? It was 400 plus, right?
I have like 412 in my mind. It's 412 exactly. I'm very smart.
Look at that.
412, 289 steals, career OPS plus of 112.
And also, like, it annoys me that Mariano Rivera forgot how to throw the ball to second base. Because, like, Soriano's home run should be replayed over and over and over and over and over. And it's a fucking footnote because, Mariano decided, hey, fuck this game. Fuck throwing the ball to second base. Fuck any of this shit. Fuck this game. Fuck the championship. Nobody wants this. I don't want this. Like, you want to celebrate? You want to pop bottles and celebrate? Fuck this. I'm airmailing this shit to center field.
Someone the other day did that. I can't remember who. Someone the other day just chucked the pitcher. Just awful throw to second. And it's like, it's the same thing as throwing to home. Even a little easier.
Speaking of all throws, but one more before we get up out of here, man. The fucking Nationals play, was it Nationals? No, Angels, sorry, Angels. The pitcher who got hit with the ball in the head. Bro, what is the catcher doing? It's like, I forget how the play actually started. Was it a strikeout? I think, no, it was a swing and miss. And Lindor ran to second, and the guy at second stayed put. Or Vogelbach ran to second, whoever it was. And the runner on first is already at second base. And then the catcher's like, you know what, I'm going to throw it to first. For fucking what? For what? For what? Why? Why did you throw it to first? Now, obviously, like, only the Angels could deck their own player in the head with a baseball, like, during play. Only them. But, like, that could have been prevented if the catcher just, threw the ball to third, because that's where the play was. He threw the ball to third. I'm like, because I saw the play, they were like, only the Angels could do this. And then it's him getting hit in the head. I'm like, yeah, I think y'all are focused on the wrong thing, with all due respect. I hope he's okay. But, like, why the fuck did the catcher throw the ball to first?
They're the Angels, man. They have no idea.
Whoever they pissed off, they must have pissed them off royally, bro. Whoever the Angels pissed off in another life, they must have pissed them off fucking royally.
And last thing before we go, shout out my guy, Ian Hamilton, my new favorite Yankee. And I like you think I'm being a dick. I couldn't be more serious. Like there is no other point in my life where a Yankee talking shit to the Rays would be like it would always be punching down.
Hmm.
Except this year. Now it's finally in the history of the Tampa Bay Rays punching up. If this happens in like '04, I'm like, what a dickhead. Because the Yankees would have won this game like 12-1. It would have been a comedy of errors on behalf of the Devil Rays. But that's not the case we're in 2023. As Michael Jordan said in The Last Dance, anybody can talk shit when they're up, talk shit when it's even score, talk shit when it's behind. The Yankees could not be more behind, especially the Rays. And this guy, after losing the game, like all of it his fault. Like literally, he got the loss, being like, "I'll beat up all of them." I love that. I absolutely like. And I can point to at least one guy in that clubhouse who gives a fuck. And his name is Ian Hamilton.
Listen, I'm all for violence threats when it makes sense to make them. I'm all for them. This one is a little tough because I mean, you're the one who are hitting their batters, and like, listen, were any of them on purpose? No. Like looking at the context, no, they weren't. I don't feel like I'm in the business of telling somebody how to react to get hit by 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. Maybe I'm tripping here, but it's like it ain't my body, bro. Like I can imagine that shit probably fucking stings. It's 98-mile-an-hour fastballs, bro. I got hit by like a 50-mile-an-hour fastball in the elbow as a kid, and bro, I damn near cried. Like it hurt. That shit hurt like hell. And I was 12, and I was like, oh fuck this shit. Had to take me out the game. I tried to make not make it dramatic or nothing like that, but they took me out the game. Had to get some ice. That shit bothered me for like 2 weeks. So I can only imagine was like getting hit with a 98-mile-an-hour fucking fastball. And here's Ian Hamilton talking about, well, they can see me anytime. It's like, okay, okay, I respect that. Like, oh, we wish we could see them again. No, you don't. Like, well, maybe you do. Maybe you want to lose some more games. I don't know, but just exclude the baseball part. Just make it go full on with the threat. Just be like, yo, they can come see me. They can come see me. Just say that. That's fine. Like, oh, we
We
want to
may
see you
fucking stink at sports, but I can fight about it. Yeah.
again. Bingo, right? Like, yeah, the season ain't shit. We ain't shit. But yo, these hands, they shit though. Like, yo, I'll fight. Say that. What's the problem?
Very funny. They're like following the Yankees on the timeline, the Yankee fans and reporters and all that. I saw people early in the game like, oh, if only we could face this kind of pitching from the Rays all the time, we would be like 10 up. Then I see the final score. I'm like, what did I miss? Like, what? What did I miss here?
I mean, they hit 3 home runs in the same inning, and then they did nothing the rest of the game. So
Sounds right.
you probably caught the tweets when they were hitting the 3 home runs, and not when they were doing nothing, which was the majority of the rest of the baseball game. Go Yankees!
That's another only teams that matter. We'll be back next week. I won't have to yell about Mookie Betts for 40 minutes, though I still may. I'm Coley Mick. That's Kevin Lewis. We'll see you guys next week.